Hello, in this video we're going to discuss telepathic growth inhibitor and the causes of people not growing to the full size of their chassis. There's two things that affect humankind from growing to their full size. So we'll look at it. It's a noticeable difference. Women, for example, over 6'4" and are supposed to have G-cup breasts or bigger. The idea of a sore back is a myth. It is from the offenders. That's where it originates. So, firstly, the cause is telepathic growth inhibitor. This is known as a binding circuit. So, and it is common throughout humankind. That is one inhibitor that halts growth. We weren't sure before, but now we're certain it is a telepathic inhibitor. So, that is one. The second one affects little people. So, little people, what's happened is the mother has been given DNA code halt growth. That could be a male with vagina or a female with vagina. They've been given DNA code halt growth. This could be as a vaccine or something from a doctor, but it is of sinister intent, and the person who did it is an offender. And the result is halt growth affects the baby. They don't grow as tall as they are supposed to, and so that's why they're not as tall as they could be. Cure for this, firstly telepathy has to go, and then DNA code growth would kickstart things and they would grow and up to their full size of their soul chassis, which is what I'm getting at about growth inhibitors. The reason why people aren't as tall as they should be. With telepathy, the circuit is, if you can imagine, it's like a curve. In the bottom diagram, the green curve. So we'll just cue it in a little bit, zoom in, and we'll just have a look here. Okay, so your brain pattern modulation curves are squiggles, and that's one way to describe it. And this is detected and inhibited. Okay, so growth has a curve. For an example here, we have a type of sine wave, and I put a red cross there. Alright, so inhibitor for that curve, what they do is they put their own curve in there when a person is doing something or nothing. Whatever brain impulse it's associated with, they override your curve and put their curve in. Figure 2, the red curve over the green curve. An example of this, happiness. Say you're happy, they don't like that. The people who are doing this are very sinister, stupid people. So a computer detects it, an alarm goes off, and they put a negative wave in there which plateaus the curve, and you're not as happy as you could be. And this is associated with not just binding circuits, but also sentience governors and cognitive governors. And that's where we have a problem, a big problem with them. At the moment, Heaven Special Forces are dealing to them, and soon the offenders will run out. One such circuit that they've got on humankind is memories. And if those are decoupled, people will remember the offenders, and you'll see them as the grotesque creatures they are. And they are politicians, some of them. When this is discovered, humankind will then go after the offenders and heckle them, which these guys don't like. And that is their destiny for them. So that's a bit about it. So, restarting growth. The people who destroy the telepathic circuitry, for example, the growth inhibitor, when it is gone, you'd find that you'd start growing. So the purpose of this video is to inform you that you might start growing soon. You might need new clothes. It is not weird or anything. It is something that's supposed to happen. What you grow into is what you've always wanted to look like. This goes back to heaven, when people decided what they wanted to look like in heaven. So restarting of growth for little people, DNA code growth, and then you'd shoot up. And the results would be really good. And you'd be happy with what you see in the mirror. But there are other things that grow. So just a few examples. Your teeth, if they're broken, they're replaced. That's normal. There's a brain pattern modulation inhibitor that halts them regrowing. Once that's gone, your teeth grow back. Just think back to the old days, right? Living medieval times. If people lost their teeth, they grew back. Hair is another one. So you're supposed to have hair. If it stopped growing, it's an inhibitor. There could be other reasons like exposure to things like radiation, but overall it's telepathy, it's an inhibitor. Once that's gone, your hair grows back. There's a couple of reasons why that happens. The offenders earn Bitcoin in favour off each hair follicle. So that can be traced to a chattel or sundry, which would be on a mainframe somewhere. The other reason is that in some people's cases they might have a prosthetic wig over their head, and underneath could be telepathic device of some kind, most likely a control unit. They halt hair growth, and the control unit is placed there. It inhibits the memory. If that were to break, then you'd once that is removed, then the victim would be able to remember everything. So not all people have got those. From what I understand, it might appear as a marble. So if you should suddenly discover that you've got a marble on top of your head, that would be it. There could be other things and reasons, and your real hair might be underneath. For everyone else, it'll grow back. So some people cut their hair, it doesn't grow again. What's going on? That's what's going on. And it'll be good when this problem is taken care of and people have their minds back and their bodies grow naturally. Things to be aware of, people are taller. They could be taller than 8 foot, and they would be it would be necessary for cars and vehicles and other things to be changed so that everyone can use them. And in heaven, archangels even taller, 12 to 17 feet tall, and super archangels even taller. But with that, with the super archangel, I did mention that there are, in the archangel chassis, there are specific enhancements that make lives much better for people with those chassis. And it's possible for humankind to someday have an archangel or super archangel chassis. It may seem far-fetched now, but reality isn't too far on the horizon. A visit to heaven, and some people might be convinced it's a good idea. And that's, you can get there by spaceship. So it's an actual place, which is interesting for people to learn about. And the society is high-tech. We can see this in our environment. And there are other things that shouldn't be on the body. Lesions, moles, freckles. For a start, acne, not supposed to be there, placed there deliberately by offenders. And someday that will be taken care of too. I'm the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven.